All right, this is going to be another one of our basically notes pages, and it's titled Bellwork 8.6 ABC, which you have some other ones with the same title, so we'll just call this one Bubba's truck because we're going to have a question about Bubba and his truck in a minute. First, it asks you to describe inertia. And you learned what inertia was, I believe, in lesson 2 or 3. And it's just the resistance of an object to changes in its state of motion. An object doesn't like to change what it's doing. And changes in its state of motion, that describes acceleration. So objects resist acceleration. They resist changing anything about their motion. Inertia can also be described as an object's kind of laziness. It doesn't want to do anything different than it's already doing. And the more mass an object has, the more inertia that object is going to have as well. So hopefully you've had a chance to jot all of that down, and then we're going to talk about Bubba leaving his coffee mug on top of his car. He drove away slowly. Well, apparently he drove away slowly enough that the coffee mug stayed on top of his truck. And then Bubba's moving along at 21 meters per second when he realizes what he did, and he slams on the brakes, and he brings the truck to a stop in 1.5 seconds. And it asks you to calculate the truck's acceleration. Well, the acceleration of the truck, actually you can calculate acceleration one of two ways. The old way, which you learned in lesson 1, was change in velocity divided by time. But you've also got another way to calculate acceleration, which is net force divided by mass. In this case, we have a change in velocity because it started at 21 meters per second and he slowed to a stop. And we have a time. So in this case, we're going to use the change in velocity divided by time. I'm going to say 0 minus 21 because 0 was my final or ending velocity. 21 was the velocity I started with. And then my time was 1.5 seconds. So a negative 21 divided by 1.5 is a negative 14. And don't let the negative throw you or intimidate you. It just indicates that the object is slowing down rather than speeding up. Are the forces acting on the truck balanced? Well, when forces are balanced, no acceleration occurs. And we are experiencing acceleration with Bubba's truck, so the forces on his truck definitely are not balanced. So are the forces acting on the truck balanced? And the answer is no. How do we know that? Because the truck is accelerating. The truck is changing its motion. In this case, the truck is slowing down. Okay, next, if the truck's mass is 1,200 kilograms, what force must be applied to stop the truck? Well, force, more specifically net force. Net force is mass of an object times its acceleration. And in this case, I'm not going to worry too much about the negative sign because the negative sign just meant that that was slowing down. So net force acting on the truck is the 1,200 kilogram mass of the truck times the truck's acceleration, 14 meters per second, and you're going to get 16,800 newtons of force required to stop that truck. Then it asks to describe what happens to the coffee mug when Bubba slams on the brakes. Well, the brakes stop the truck, but there's nothing attaching to the coffee mug that's going to cause the coffee mug to stop as well. So the brakes will stop the truck, but the coffee mug is going to keep going. Yeah.
Hey, can you go into your email and vote on the character trait of the month for the 8th graders?
As soon as I'm done with my recording.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, we had a little buzz in. So the coffee mug is going to continue to move even though the truck has stopped. And so the mug is going to continue to move, and it's actually going to land in front of the truck. All right, number 3 asks, what is acceleration? Meaning, what is the definition for acceleration? And you guys have learned that acceleration is a change in velocity over time. Acceleration occurs, for instance, whenever an object speeds up, slows down, or changes direction. And that's different than asking what causes acceleration. The thing that causes acceleration is unbalanced forces. And an unbalanced force, remember, is just a net force that is something other than zero.